There is undeniable evidence that you were the original recipient of this letter.
What are you talking about? Is it addressed to me?
Your protégé wanted a fresh start, it seems. This is sufficient to charge you.
Me? Hurt my star? Are you insane that you would accuse me of such a thing?
He did not consider himself as yours. Since you deny everything, let's move on. Do you have any idea as to how the letter could have ended up in Mr. Vogel's pocket?
You were the detective. Perhaps he took it from Fabio. Werner was a little high.
Could Fabio have written this letter to Kurt Manchios?
Oh. That could be. I never thought Mr. Manchios could make Fabio that angry, though.
What do you mean?
Well, Fabio wanted to disassociate from Mr. Manchios. Clients who are in love are both a blessing and a curse.
But Fabio was here tonight.
Money. In our line of work, we can't afford to turn down clients who pay as well as Kurt Manchios.
Was Fabio afraid of Mr. Manchios?
Not at all. The old toad wouldn't dare to do more than sweet talk and touching. Talk can be forgotten, and touching washed away.
I have reason to believe that the intended recipient of the incriminating letter may have been Kurt Manchios.
Well, that makes sense. Too bad I can't remember how I came to possess it. Though I did spend quite some time with Mr. Manchios during the party.
Unfortunately, even with an answer, that may still not be enough to clear you with the police. But fear not, I will persevere.
I hope your attempt to put things straight will make up for...
You being on a bender?
touché.
The murder of Fabio did not have a ritual purpose, Mr. Manchios. It was staged by a man who wished to distract the investigation.
That might be true. That poor girl Matista wouldn't dare to kill the only man who cared for her. So, Santos.
Mr. Pinchetti snatched at the chance to solve his problems.
Ungrateful little scum. Will he be executed?
But what for? He informed the police as to the crime, that was all. He couldn't stage the ritual, but he found the body, I believe.
I can't believe it. Why did Werner do it?
Mr. Vogel. He had no reason, and he won't be a scapegoat as you plan. You put Fabio's letter in his pocket when he was intoxicated, didn't you?
You can't be serious.
We can very often deduce someone's life by their shoes, or their fingernails. You are a meticulous person, but this murder was fairly traumatic and filthy. After you stabbed Fabio, you were covered in blood. You panicked and neglected to rinse the soap from under your fingernails. The devil is in the details, Mr. Manchios.
Nonsense. I missed it simply because of the busy schedule of the party.
Of course, a staged murder was certainly not planned. You're at the twilight of your life. You have no partner, you have no children. You had feelings, however, for one man. That was Fabio. You loved him. That is, you wished to own him with money and gifts. But he was also a free mind, was he not? He turned his back on you. Quite unjust. Love, so cruel and painful, and Fabio, with his words and deeds, made you feel the more wretched. So you killed him.
You must surely perceive that my sensitive nature wouldn't allow me to hurt anyone.
You staged the murder as a satanic ritual. It was easy for you, since you were the one who wrote the scenarios for the parties. It was your way of avoiding suspicion. A respectable man in his 60s,
Early 60s.
who hosts the cream of Cordona's society, cannot possibly be a murderer. But the guests who behave like animals in his mansion, of course, one of them could have killed Fabio.
I did oversee a few of the rituals, but I did not stage Fabio's death.
The young performer played with your emotions. That was painful to realize. You spent so much time and effort to be with Fabio, but he didn't respond in the way you would have liked. You wanted to be loved. Fabio shattered your dreams. In the smoking lounge, he teased and mocked you. He wanted you to suffer by offering himself to others. The deception was unbearable. You struck him, and then you staged the ritual. You planted the letter in Vogel's pocket and attempted to set up Matista.
What poppycock? Sherlock, stop this game now.
There is no stop word, Mr. Manchios. Relax and enjoy it. I'll pass the remainder of this case to Constable Oswald. He'll know what to do with you.
Did you hear Basilio Capello is in? Did you hear?
I have a name for you. Kurt Manchios.
Is that so? The master of the Sabbath?
The man himself. Mr. Manchios couldn't stand to lose control over his lover. A deadly revenge that deserves a proper sentence. I have all the evidence to charge him.
A degenerate and a murderer. I'll make a name thanks to that for sure. As for my part, not everything was in place. Perhaps some documents were transferred somewhere else, but I couldn't find a trace of them. Then I remembered. The discarded document drawers where we put the lost papers or the badly labelled ones. Including the crime scene report of Violet Holmes's case. Everything I've found is on the desk here. Take it.
Your persistence has saved me.
Yeah, well, we had a deal after all. Your friend is free then. You can leave.
Good luck, Constable.
Oh, you did it, Sherlock! The case is closed and all rewards belong to the winner. Bravo!
It is merely the triumph of the truth.
Is it? No compromises? No lies? You're happy with your decisions?
It was the best decision I could obtain. The truth must be told in the way it is most acceptable.
You're making progress, Sherlock. I was right to believe in you. By the way, did you get that precious information about your mother? Oh, not that you must.
Yes, I did.
Forgive my intrusion in such a personal matter. I simply worry I'm failing to be of much help to you.
Actually, you were. For some reason, all the archives on the case had disappeared. This was a rare opportunity to obtain the impossible.
Outrageous. Perhaps someone found the truth unpleasant. Society usually rejects those who speak with too much honesty, doesn't it?
A comfortable lie is often preferred to an uncomfortable truth. Still, I believe that the latter should prevail, and I cannot remain silent.
That's quixotism at its best. Your mere truth cannot defeat institutions, systems, and power. Etiquette, religion, marriage, they're all lies told to preserve connections, love, and sanity, and it's all corruptible.
Lies destroy human dignity. How could you make a free decision without any knowledge of the truth?
Are we really free to decide anything in this world, Sherlock?
I get enough obnoxious pontification from my brother, so please, spare me your lecture.
Forgive my love for moral philosophy. I know I tend to ramble. You're a walking contradiction, Sherlock. You refuse to lie to others, but constantly lie to yourself. How long until the train comes off the track? I cannot look away, but perhaps I should take a few steps back. You're an accident waiting to happen, dear. Until then, I shall bid you adieu.
Did you hear Basilio Coppello is in jail?
So, are you ready to take on the task?
You have my attention, Mr. Estevo.
Mark Ridley, the son of General Arthur Ridley, is being blackmailed. Suffice to say, the compromising material is of a delicate nature. The matter is of no small importance to the Crown, especially given the status quo on Cordona.
What about the status quo?
The Ottoman population holds a certain animosity towards the colonial rule. It's been this way since we took over the island. General Ridley made concessions with their leaders, but I'm afraid we are still teetering on the edge of open hostility.
What does Mycroft want me to do? Retrieve the blackmail material?
No, sir, nothing of the sort. Mark Ridley is meeting the blackmailer atop the old city bridge tower. You shall observe from a distance, then establish the blackmailer's identity. Do not attempt to arrest him. We'll handle it from there.
Saving the best for yourself? Fine.
There is a cafe just over the bridge that provides a good vantage point. Please report to me when you are done. I'll be waiting for you here, and remember, discretion is of the essence.
Here, grab a seat. Here, grab a seat.
You even brought a book, huh?
May I have... Same as always.
You just don't give up, do you?
Oh, come on, let's get closer. I can't see anything from here.
No, too early.
So we're just going to sit here all day?
Patience, John. I have a feeling this is more than simple blackmail. We'll be close when the blackmailer leaves, and then...
Go! What a pretty sight this.
Who's it?
Head trauma, fatal. Gravity is cruel like that.
A rather frivolous accessory for a military man. Shame it's all bloody now. He was stabbed several times before he fell. The shape of the wounds suggest a curved blade.
Who's it? What's happened? Who is it?
The knife is missing.
It's almost like he's dancing.
Dancing the danse macabre.
No signs of life, no pulse. I'm declaring Corporal Ridley dead.
Please move along. The police are on their way. Everything's, under control.
Is it now? The General's own son has fallen out of the tower, and not without help, it seems. I need to inspect the scene, and quickly.
The corporal? He ordered me not to let anyone inside without telling him. But now... Wait, are you saying it's a murder?
A brief examination of the body was enough for me to conclude that he was murdered by a blade of Ottoman origin.
You can't possibly be so certain.
Oh, I can be. The corporal suffered deep stab wounds which were inflicted with great force. They were made by a knife meant for cutting, not stabbing. A curved blade, such as an Ottoman jambir or a Gurkha kukri. I haven't seen any Gurkhas on the island, so the conclusion is quite obvious.
Amazing. You do seem more than competent. All right, go in. I'll wait here for the police.
Did you see anything suspicious?
No, sir, nothing. Corporal Ridley had to attend to some private matters upstairs. No one went in, no one came out. Oh, but that means the killer is still inside. Are you sure you want to go in alone?
I'm not alone. I have my friend with me.
Your friend? You mean your gun? There's no one...
Never mind, I'll be fine.
The killer's gone. Vanished into thin air. Gonna join the Navy after all. That'd make Mycroft so happy, you know.
Shut up, John. This blade is a naval officer's dirk. Sharp and well cared for. The edge is covered with blood, but the tip is clean. Can you smell the body odor, John? Someone's been hiding in here. Someone sweaty.
Unless it's a laundry chest. But then it's a different mystery altogether. The case of the vanishing sweaty pantaloons.
This cigarette is still smouldering. Exactly 100 mangears. The killer didn't touch them. Ridley was attacked by his blackmailer, but before being pushed out the window, Ridley managed to wound him. The killer must still be bleeding.
Come on, let's take the rope down.
I'd rather take the stairs.
Ah, what a bore.
So what happened? Was there anyone upstairs?
No, the killer escaped. We're dealing with a carefully planned assassination. What can you tell me about the deceased?
We were from the same unit, stationed together at the barracks by the bridge, but I can't say I knew him well. Maybe someone at the barracks could tell you more.
Do you know if the corporal had any enemies? Someone who would want him dead?
No, none that I know of. But then again, there's always the Ottomans. They'd want all of us soldiers dead, I reckon.
That was a rough landing.
Wow. Amazing, right?
Disturbing is more like it. Aha! A curved knife covered in fresh blood. There we go. Doubt that this eagle is purely ornamental.
Careful, Sherry. Locals aren't too
I'd better leave the knife here. Now is a bad time to ruffle any feathers.
Go away! What?
You aren't here to relieve me from duty, are you? Oh, well. You aren't here to relieve me from duty, are you? Oh, well.
Excuse me, just one question.
Ah, I know this, yeah. Let me help you.
Help me, please.
Ah, I know this, yeah. Let me help you.
Nice. A room after my own heart.
A little austere for my taste. There are scratches on the floor. The locker was moved. Two tickets to London. Would have been a very different ending for the Corporal's story. That's quite a hefty sum. Enough to start a new life. Being the son of a general must be difficult. Rise all the way to the top. Make me proud, son.
Ridley's blood is on Ottoman hand.
Nice affordable clothes. Step right up.
Help me, please.
Listen, friend. I like your face. I'll tell you. Don't pass by. Welcome, welcome. Let's pick something that suits you.
Be careful with what
you've taken.
My love, oh, I'm so... Who are you? Where's Mark? Answer me or I'll call for help.
You will do no such thing, Jalen. We both know it.
How do you know my name? And why are you wearing this scarf? What has happened?
A flood of questions, but I only have one answer. Mark Ridley is dead.
No. This cannot be. You're lying. Tell me you're lying.
Keep your voice down, miss. I don't have time for a lady's hysterics. Mark has been murdered, and I believe that the murderer is part of this house.
No. It was a secret. We were meeting. How could anyone find out?
The truth always comes out one way or another, but enough of this. Tell me, have you seen anything suspicious here?
No, I heard the servants talking about blood near the main entrance, but I didn't think... This is too much for me. I can't.
I wasn't mean. Now is not the time for pity.
Is that you or your reptilian brain talking?
A bloody trail. Let's see where it leads. A pile of fresh clothes. How convenient. All soaked in blood. Well, a fresh shirt is as good a lead as any.
So, think you can identify the killer on the first try?
Huh. Do you doubt me?
What are you staring at, you crazy woman?
So, here you are. The wounded eagle in its eyrie.
What the hell? An Englishman here? Why are you wearing a dress?
I understand your confusion. It's been a turbulent day, hasn't it?
Do you have any idea who you're talking to, Brit?
Indeed I do. You are the proud son of this house. Proud, but wounded. You keep it well hidden, but you're far too nervous to think straight. So please let me explain while you catch your breath.
I am Osai, son of Hassan. You are on my father's property, and yes, you had better start being convincing.
My name is Sherlock Holmes. I have every reason to believe that you were involved in the murder of Mark Ridley.
Are you accusing me?
That's right, I am. I recovered the murder weapon. It bears an eagle crest, the same crest that is so proudly displayed within your house.
And a proud house we are. My father speaks for all Ottomans on this island, remember that.
Regrettably, I failed to detect much pride in the callow way you ambushed the corporal. It couldn't have been very comfortable for you inside that chest, waiting to catch the corporal off guard. Couldn't you find a better place to hide?
You're a fine one to talk of tactics. You're dressed as a woman.
If you'll pardon the metaphor, he was a fishbone that became lodged in your throat. You had a strong motive to see him dead. At the heart of this crime is a woman, Jalen. I wonder who she might be to you. Your wife? Unlikely. Your sister?
Enough! Don't you dare say a word about my sister. It was he who led her to sin. That son of a dog, Mark Ridley. He spat on our traditions and brought shame to our family. His father promised us peace, but I knew how it would be. You feed the crow, it tears your eyes out.
So you've risked the peace to right your honor.
I had no other choice. Not that you'd understand, Brit.
I believe peace between our people to be more important than this terrible incident.
You want peace? Well, then stay away from my family and never speak of this to anyone.
I won't say a word to the police. It will only complicate matters. There is no need for further bloodshed.
You're not so stupid after all. Now get out.
Did you hear Basilio?
In the police. Let's pretend to be cops, eh? We can just stand around. And look confused.
long day.
Excuse me, but are you Mr. Capello? My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm hoping you could spare a moment to talk.
Manners, what a pleasant surprise. Most of your colleagues have lacked even the simplest of common courtesies.
You're a suspect, sir, but not yet a criminal. I shan't treat you as such. Your case is refreshingly unusual, and I wish to get to the bottom of it.
Manners and enthusiasm. Huh. May you go far, young man. What can I help you with?
You are surprisingly composed for a man accused of murder. Not so easily shaken, I take it.
Life is full of surprises. You'd be astonished how many deals go sour due to a force majeure. One becomes skilled at adapting. I am confident this will all be set straight. Until then, I will endure.
Much how you endure that injured hand. Those bruises look painful, but you seem barely aware of it. Were you attacked?
No. A minor accident, nothing more. My heady days as a man out to prove his valor are far behind me. I now know that to succeed in life, one must stay calm and plan ahead. The world will turn your way eventually. And if it does not, then one must persuade it so.
Please, tell me how you ended up in this situation.
Well, this morning some clients arrived to finalize their purchase of a Capello modular safe. But when we opened the door, out tumbled a dead man.
And I take it this wasn't normal?
No, I normally keep my corpses in the wardrobe. Please, young man, spare me your wit. The rest of the day was a blur. I recognized the victim, and it seems so did the police. That was enough to make me the main suspect.
Who sent for the authorities?
No one. As it happens, we had a break-in last night. Nothing was stolen, but for insurance purposes, the report had to be made. So, police officers just happened to be on the premises when we discovered the body in the safe.
You mentioned you were showing your wares to some prospective buyers when the safe was opened. Who were they?
Clerks from the bank. They inspected the safe from top to bottom yesterday. I assumed the sale was just a formality at that point.
And the safe was closed?
It's usually open, but it locks automatically when the door swings closed. That's another marvelous Capello invention.
A coffin that locks itself. Marvelous indeed. Help me grasp your movements yesterday. What time did you meet the customers from the bank, and did you have any other appointments?
Yesterday, the bank clerks arrived at 10 a.m. Afterwards, I was alone in the office until my wife Augusta came in at 3 p.m. I left for home at 6:30 p.m.
And what about this morning?
Our meeting for the demonstration was set for 9 a.m. I arrived about half an hour prior in order to prepare.
I have one final inquiry. Do you recall the time at which the safe door was closed?
Young man, I may just as well ask you when you closed your cigar case. I have opened our safes 12 times a day for 12 years. I do not recall.
You say you became the suspect when the police identified the victim. Is there history between you?
Surely you jest. That man and I have never met, and never would, unless he became the first deity in history to use our products.
Some sort of family feud? I'm afraid I'm not familiar.
You must be new to Cordona. It's an old tale. Back in Italy, generations ago, the deities tried to ruin our family business. They nearly succeeded. The Capellos rightfully struck back, but there has been bad blood ever since.
And does that blood flow in you too?
I told you, sir, it's an old story, or it was. I fear this horrible event portends worse to come. My wife may be in danger as we speak.
I'd like to inquire about the burglary.
I'm not sure I see the connection, but if you wish to know more, talk to Billy Lloyd, the night watchman. He scared off the thief.
Was it also Billy that discovered the burglar?
No, my wife did. She had stayed late yesterday. Poor Augusta. At least she's safer with the police than at home alone.
Well, Mr. Capello, I think that's all I need from you at present. Where can I find your office?
Here, take my card. Billy should be on site to assist with the investigation. And please, sir, would you check on my wife before you depart?
Thank you. I will endeavour to speak with her before I leave the station.
Please, treat her gently. Women lack our resilience when it comes to ordeals like this. I shall eagerly await your return. After all, there's little else I can do.
Mrs. Capello, please wait in the office. The inspector will be here soon.
You must be the inspector.
Would you be Augusta Capello?
Must I really repeat myself to every baby-faced man in uniform that strides in?
Forgive me, I am not the inspector, but I am working on your husband's case.
Then I have nothing to say to you. Come back with the inspector in charge so that we may dispense with the endless repetition.
Whilst I prefer German composers, the harp solo from Lucia di Lammermoor stands out as one of Donizetti's finest contributions to the form. I'm sure Basilio thought the same.
He did. How? Did he tell you how we met?
Oh, there was no need. It is trivial to observe how much you value your memories of playing harp in the orchestra, and even an amateur Italian harpist would be familiar with Donizetti's finest work.
Yes. Music is a balm in these uncertain times. It is nice to meet another who appreciates it.
Much as I appreciate the truth. Please, Mrs. Capello, let me help you and your husband.
I am not unappreciative, sir. But I'm afraid I presently lack the strength.
Basilio tells me you were present during the burglary yesterday. What can you tell me about it?
Oh, it gave me such a fright. I fainted, fell to the floor. I wish I could help you, but, I'm just utterly useless. Please, I want to rest before the inspector arrives.
You've had quite the day, Mrs. Capello. I shall leave you be. If I have further questions, I may visit again later.
Please let me rest.
Hello there.
Strength, security, peace of mind. Tacky.
Well, you know, That's your opinion, good sir.
The best on the market. You can wallop them, you can burn them. Nothing will work.
I bet he tested that himself.
Ill-fitting pants, wonky nose, and hair that appears to have been cut by your own hand. You must be Billy Lloyd.
Oh, it's you! I knew you'd come.
You did?
You're Mirko Gallia, the best investigative journalist on Cordona. I'm a fan of your work.
Alas, you're mistaken. The name is Sherlock Holmes, and your employer...
Oh, of course. Discretion. I'm sorry. I doubt the policeman upstairs heard me, though, so your secret is safe with me, Sherlock.
Mr. Capello told me you were present during the burglary and scared the criminal off the property?
Hey, you should have seen it. As soon as the burglars saw me, they went white as death. Ran out the back door of the office. I heard a thud and cat shrieks, so I think they went over the railing and into the bushes out back. Clearly, my reputation precedes me. Mr. Capello was so proud.
You're a guard, but you didn't give chase.
Well, by the time I made it outside, they were miles away. So I went back to help Mrs. Capello. That kind of gentlemanly courtesy is why I'm so well regarded round these parts.
What did the thief look like?
Shorter than me, mid-20s, a huge scar across the right cheek going from the eye. Short hair. She didn't look like a ghost. Too corporeal.
Hold on. She? You didn't think to mention the burglar was a woman?
Why did you assume it was a man? It's the 19th century, sir. Ambitious young women are out there pursuing a career, and I, for one, encourage it.
Yes, yes, spare me the sermon. When did the burglary happen?
Oh, after 10 in the evening. I was just talking to Mrs. Capello.
Does she normally work this late?
No, it's the first time it happened. Usually I'm alone at night. I was explaining to Mrs. Capello how drinking water every 3 hours can help with digestion, when she excused herself and went back upstairs. Then there was a scream, and I ran up to the office, and...
I know what happened next, thank you. What about last evening? Do you have any more details about the break-in?
Of course. I write down everything that happens during my watch. Take a look.
Fastidious in its mundanity, but I will make of it what I can. I must go and inspect the crime scene. If I have further questions, Mr. Lloyd, I will find you.
Oh, don't worry. I won't be able to keep away.
Right. Is this code memo still valid?
Oh, yes. It's the same combination code everywhere. It corresponds to Mrs. Capello's birthday, actually. In fact, during this year's celebration, I was allowed a sip of champagne. That's when I had to dry my trousers, and then I had to...
Okay, thank you, Billy. Have you noticed anything different about Mrs. Capello recently?
Not really. She talks to me more when I start my shift. Probably because of the 100 Best Curry Recipes book I'm reading. Oh, and we've been running out of paper a lot lately, so she often sends me out to buy more for her. She's very particular about the paper we use. Only one store on the island stocks it, and it's on the other side of the town. But I'm really fast.
Interesting, thank you. What can you tell me about Mr. Capello?
He's a good employer, but very focused on work, and very serious about security, of course, since he employed a night watch of my caliber. Not everyone appreciates his strict business approach, though. Store clerks don't seem to last long in the office.
Good to know. Clear indications of blunt trauma, possibly inflicted before the victim was in the safe. Bulging veins, cyanosis, bloodshot eyes, odd foaming in the mouth. Bruises, torn nails, bleeding was severe and continued at length. Clothes are not fully buttoned. Was the victim dressing or undressing? Blood on the safe door could have been left by the victim. What a rotten way to die.
Yeah, what a shame.
bottle is half empty. A wine, well enjoyed. Recently used, but why would it be here? A concert program from 7 years ago. An Augusta La Duca is listed as a harpist in the orchestra. Two theatre tickets for Shakespeare's Othello. The performance is tomorrow.
Have to respect the classics. He clearly needs a better work-life balance.
Well-organised workplace?
Mr. Capello is the best.
Okay, this chap is seriously creepy.
Do you know anything about these entries?
No, but Mr. Capello is so well organised. I use a different method, very popular among the Buddhist monks. You create an attic in your mind and...
I'm familiar. Keep it tidy, put only necessary information in, remove unnecessary information regularly.
What? No, it's called an attic. You just stuff it with everything. You never know what might prove helpful someday.
That is profoundly upsetting. Do you know whose keys these are?
Probably Mr. Capello's. Police took him so suddenly. I have the same set, but it's more efficient. Has fewer keys.
So you don't have access to the entire office?
No. Only Mr. and Mrs. Capello have the key to the back door.
Do you know what this note might be about?
I cannot presume to know another's mind, of course, but... I think Mr. and Mrs. Capello have been having some familial difficulties. Probably due to their lack of children. One of my oldest friends helps couples with their relationship troubles, and he always says...
You don't have to continue.
Oh, well, he says that to me as well, but I'm perfectly happy to.
No, I insist. Do you know anything else about the dead body in the safe?
Well, there is the rule of threes. You can survive 3 weeks without food, 3 days without water, 3 hours in harsh weather, and 3 minutes...
Of you talking?
Without air. I'm sorry, did you say something?
No, very enlightening, Mr. Lloyd, thank you. The letter F is inscribed within a 4-leaf clover pattern. Passe muraille. Walk through walls in French. Our thief seems rather arrogant. The letter F is inscribed within a 4-leaf clover pattern. A comprehensive set of lockpicks, recently cleaned, with no fresh scratches.